ॐ दक्षिणास्य समारम्भा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशव वामन कृष्ण पाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरु सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। So now we are in the 18th chapter, and 18th chapter, as I said, is the summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita. Now we have to remember that Bhagwan Krishna in the entire 17 chapters has talked about only two things. One is Karma Yoga and second is Jnana Yoga. What is the meaning of Karma Yoga? Karma Yoga is, at present, I am not fit for really understanding what is the nature of that Atma or Brahman, which is what is the central teaching or the purport of the teaching of the Upanishads. And at present, I am not prepared for it. And like Arjuna, all of us are completely overcome by our raga, shoka, and moha. And at present, we have a very strong identification with our body, mind, sense complexes. And very strongly, we feel that whatever is happening at the body, mind, sense complex is the reality, that is the truth. And the Jagat or the world as we see, as we experience around us, it is nothing but the truth. This is where we come from right now. And at present, suddenly to jump to the level of the subtlest understanding that I am not this body, mind, sense complex, and the Jagat I see is only an experiential reality and it is not the truth. To understand this, it is not very easy for us because we are not yet prepared for this kind of a knowledge, which is a liberating knowledge. And Bhagwan Krishna says, ultimately, that which gives moksha or that which liberates you from this samsara is nothing but this Atmajnanam, understanding that you are nothing but that Aksharam Brahma, that Param Brahma. And for that, one has to really have the preparation of the mind. And Bhagwan Krishna, throughout Bhagavad Gita, is talking about only Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga repeatedly in every chapter. And all the time he is making Arjuna understand that, look, Arjuna, right now you are not prepared for this understanding of the highest truth which is given by the Upanishads, and you need to prepare yourself. You need to prepare your mind with, with what is called as the karma yoga, where, you have to dilute your raga dveshas. You have to prepare your mind. There should be a chitta shuddhi in which this kind of a knowledge is properly established. Otherwise, it is not. And therefore, Bhagwan talks to Arjuna mostly as that one, he has to become a karma yogi first. And without this preparation of the mind in the form of karma yoga, and in the second chapter and third chapter, Bhagwan has explained it clearly that karma yoga is nothing but offering all the actions that I do in the form of offering to the Lord, to Ishvara, and accepting all the karma phalas as karma phala, as Ishvara prasada. All the karma phalas are nothing but Ishvara prasada. Now, he said that very typically, he said in the third chapter that, look, Arjuna, there are only two nishthas that I know the scriptures talk about, and that is what I am also talking about. Bhagavan Krishna is not giving anything of his original in the teaching. What he teaches is nothing but what is taught in the Upanishads. And Bhagavan says that there are two lifestyles. Ultimately, there is absolutely no difference in the ultimate goal of a karma yogi and a jnana yogi. The ultimate goal of a mumukshu is nothing but moksha, to get free from this samsara, which is perceived by me at present as a bondage. And for that, there are no two ways, there are only two lifestyles. A karma yogi also ultimately has his goal in moksha, because he is a mumukshu, he is a moksha purusharthi, he has done the purushartha nishchaya that it should be moksha for him. But unfortunately, at the present time, this particular mumukshu is not prepared for this knowledge. Therefore, this karma yogi should take up to a lifestyle of pravritti. What is the meaning of that? That means at present, this mumukshu, though his goal is moksha ultimately, has to really go through one more step before Jnana Yoga. Before exposing his intellect to this Upanishadic knowledge, he has to prepare his intellect, and this is a lifestyle of a Karma Yogi. Lokesmin dvividha nishta pura prokta maya. He said, Maya pura eva prokta. Long back I have talked about it. There are only two lifestyles. One is the lifestyle of a pravritti. What is the meaning of pravritti? That I am a mumukshu, no doubt. My ultimate goal is moksha purushartha. I have already understood that I don't want to come back again and again into these cycles of birth and death. At the same time, my ultimate goal, my final goal is to get out of the cycles of birth and death in the form of moksha. But as a karma yogi, the karma yogi, Krishna says, should remain wherever he is. If he is a grahastha, he remains in the grahastha ashrama. Whatever role he has been given, whatever role he has been playing, it may be the role of a parent, it may be the role of a teacher, it may be the role of whatever role he plays in various aspects of his life in this society, the person continues to play his role. And as he plays his role, without trying to renounce anything, he prepares his mind, he prepares his intellect to ultimately go to the step of Jnana Yoga. Therefore, the very first step is Jnana Yoga, the first step is Karma Yoga, where the person prepares his mind, and the final step is Jnana Yoga, where this knowledge is imbibed by this person. And of course, Lord Krishna also introduces a intermediate step called as Upasana Yoga, where this prepared intellect by Karma Yoga is able to see the Swarupam of Ishvara also, understanding the Jiva Swarupa, understanding the Ishvara Swarupa, and ultimately understanding that this Jiva is not separate from Ishvara. This is the very process of knowledge. And for that, the first lifestyle that Lord Krishna says is that one has to be a karma yogi. This is the lifestyle of a karma yogi. And what is the other lifestyle? The other lifestyle is that of Tyaga or Sannyasa. When a person is fully prepared, a prepared intellect where the raga dveshas are taken care of, there is not much of any more confusion, and the mind is strengthened by upasana, by bringing the mind to a one pointed focus by Ekarupa Ishvara Bhakti, expanding the intellect by Vishwarupa Ishvara Bhakti. Now the mind of this person is fully prepared to receive this knowledge, and such a person exposes his intellect to the Guru. Tad Vijnanaya Gurumevabdhigachet. So this person goes to the Guru to get this knowledge. And this particular stage of a mumukshu's life is called as the stage of Jnana Yoga, or it is a Nishtha of a sannyasa, where he gives up everything else to the exclusion of pursuing this knowledge. Now, sannyasa, or tyaga ultimately depends upon which kind of a lifestyle you are. And Krishna says in the 6th chapter, in the first verse, Krishna says that anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragni na cha akriyaha. So, Arjuna, you understand that just because a person gives up everything, a person who gives up all his roles in the society and then does the tyaga, or he tries to retreat himself to a forest and tries to indulge himself or involve himself in jnana yoga, it is not possible. And for a person who has no preparation of the mind, it is not possible for such a person to give up everything and to retreat to a lifestyle of sannyasa. Therefore, Arjuna, yes, there are two lifestyles. One is the nishtha of a karma yoga. Lokesmin dvividha nishtha. Two types of nishtas are there. In one, the person is in the lifestyle of a karma yoga, the nishtha of a karma yoga, where he continues to do what he is doing, and he does it with what attitude? Ishwararpana buddhya karma kartavyam. And whenever he faces the karma phala is faced or taken as Ishvara prasada. And the sannyasi nishta is that where when a person is fully prepared, his mind is actually mature enough by all the amanitwadi values that have been inculcated. Then this person, having fulfilled all his roles, can take up to a life of sannyasa where everything is given up to the exclusion of pursuing only this jnanam. Our scriptures only give permission to such a person who has completed all his duties and who has led the lifestyle of karma yoga and prepared himself for this knowledge. Our scriptures themselves give this permission for this lifestyle of a sannyasa. Therefore, in the 18th chapter also, in the first verse, when Arjuna asked, what is the difference between, sannyasa and tyaga, what does Krishna have to say? Because he has asked this question in the 3rd chapter also, in the 4th chapter also, in the 6th chapter also. Therefore, now Lord Krishna wants to say that, look, Arjuna, at present, he does not say that giving up everything is sannyasa. Though in our scriptures, the ultimate definition of sannyasa is actually giving up everything, all one's activities, giving up everything that a person is connected with, and exclusively pursuing this monastic lifestyle, which is called as sannyasa. But at present, since Arjuna is not prepared for that, Bhagwan Krishna modifies his definition. Initially, in the 2nd and 3rd verses, Lord Krishna gives the opinion of the other knowers of Shastra. But from the 4th verse onwards, Bhagwan says that, look, there is no difference between sannyasa and tyaga. And Arjuna, may you understand that one has to do the karmas which are necessary for Chitta Shuddhi in the form of yajna, dana, and tapas. Yajna, dana, tapas, they are what? Pavanani manishinam, he said in the 5th verse of the same chapter. They are sacred, and they are meant to prepare the minds of the mumukshus for the ultimate receiving of this knowledge. And therefore, Arjuna, yajna, dana, and tapas cannot be given up, and these are the kartavyam karyameva. And at the same time, what kind of a tyaga I am going to talk to you about? Sannyasa and tyaga are one and the same. And the only way I'm going to present this tyaga is whether this sannyasa is a sattvika sannyasa, a rajasa sannyasa, or a tamasa sannyasa. And with the moha, without understanding what actually tyaga is or sannyasa is, out of a wrong understanding and out of moha and delusion, a person who gives up the yajna, dana, tapo karmas, such a person is called as a tamasa sannyasi. And a person who gives up all these karmas which are supposed to be done, have to be done only because it is a pain and it is difficult to follow. If such a person gives up this because kaya klesha bhayat, the one who gives up, such a person is called as a rajasa sannyasi. And who is a sattvika sannyasi? A sattvika sannyasi is the one who does all these karmas which he is supposed to do, who lives a lifestyle of whatever roles he has to play. But then, how does he play his role? This is the prarabdha with which this particular body mind sense complex is born, and this is the sankalpa of Ishvara. At this time, I have to play this particular role, and I will continue to play my role. I will continue to play the role to the best of my ability, but whatever may be the result, really speaking, I do not have any control over it. So, what does this Sattvika sannyasi do? He does karma phala tyaga. Now, you may ask one question. Then why do you call Karma Yoga as Karma Yoga? Here, Bhagwan is describing Karma Yoga as a Sattvika Sannyasi. The Sattvika Sannyasi is no different or not different from Karma Yogi at all. But then, in Karma Yoga, there is no sannyasa whatsoever. The Karma Yogi continues to do whatever he is doing, and his lifestyle remains to be that of a pravrittaha. But even then, how do you say that the Karma Yogi is a sannyasi? The Karma Yogi is explained in the 18th chapter up till the 12th verse. Have just completed the 10th verse, but up till the 12th verse, Bhagwan Krishna talks about, Karma Yoga in the form of Sattvika Sannyasa. Because here, though Karma Yogi is not a sannyasi, he does not have any kind of an entanglement with Karma Phala. And when there is no entanglement with karma phala, it is as though he has given up all the karma phala. Therefore, though karma yogi has not given up anything, he has given up his entanglement and his expectations of karma phala from whatever karma he is doing. Therefore, a sattvika sannyasi is not different from a karma yogi. And up till the 12th verse of this chapter, Bhagwan is going to talk about Karma Yoga, summarizing the Karma Yoga. Remember, in the 18th chapter, Bhagwan summarizes the Karma Yoga and Nyana Yoga again and again and again in various ways to make Arjuna understand that Karma Yoga is the same as Tyaga. Karma Phala Tyaga is a Karma Sannyasi. He is a person who is a Sattvika Sannyasi, not because he has given up the karma, but he has given up his intentions, involvement, or expectations of the karma phala. Therefore, Arjuna, a karma phala tyagi, a person who does not have any abhinivesha in the karma phala, is a sattvic sannyasi, and a sattvic sannyasi is nothing but a karma yogi. And such a karma yogi, we saw in the 10th verse, na dveshti akushalam karma kushale nanushajjate. He does not, try to get over involved with karmas which he likes, or tries to go away from the karmas which he does not like. No, whatever is his lot, whatever is the Ishwar Sankalpa for him, whatever is that which he is supposed to do at that particular place and that particular time, Maya idam kartavyam iti, without having any kind of an expectation or an entanglement or an attachment with the karma phala. Na dveshti akushalam karma kushale nanushajyate tyagi sattva samavishtaha medhavi shinna samshayaha. This person who has no doubt about it that this is to be done, I will do this. And whatever karma phala comes, let it come. And I am not going to be unduly bothered or disturbed by the karma phala. This person is a sattvika sannyasi or a sattvika tyagi because he has as though done karma phala tyaga. So we have another two verses which are going to summarize this karma yoga. So from the fourth verse up till the 12th verse of this chapter, Bhagwan is going to summarize the karma yoga. Now, this person does the karmas that he is supposed to do. How? That is going to be told in the next verse, in the 11th verse. So we'll see the 11th verse of the 18th chapter. Nahi dehabhrata shakyam tyaktum karmanyasheshatah yastu karma phalatyagi satyagi tyabhidhiyate. Arjuna, this karma yogi who is actually doing karma phala tyaga in the form of accepting the karma phala as Ishvara Prasada, where he has no undue concern or anxiety with the karma phala. This is the meaning of karma phala tyaga. I have done what I have to done to the best of my ability. Like parents, what can the parents do? They can do their best in whatever way they think they are right, to the best of their ability. They can bring up the children. But ultimately, what happens to the children in their future? The children have come with their own prarabdha, and that phalam of my bringing up of my children, it is not really in my hands, because there are so many aspects, there are so many variables associated with it. A parent doing the duty of bringing up the child to the best of his ability, maya kartavyam iti, but giving up that undue anxiety or attachment to the karma phala. Oh, what will happen to them? Have I done it correctly? Have I not done it correctly? Oh, if something goes wrong with them, then is it my fault? Where have I gone wrong? No, he does not think of that. To the best of his ability, whatever is right, he does, he or she, and then leaves the rest to whatever ultimately the phalam has to be. This kind of an attitude of no undue anxiety or tension about what the karma phala is going to be, such a person is called as a karma phala tyagi. And that's what in the second line he says, Yastu karma phalatyagi satyagi iti abhidhiyate. Who is this sattvika sannyasi? Who is this karma yogi? The one who does karma phalatyaga. In the sense, yes, he does expect a karma phala. He does all the actions because he wants the best thing to happen. But then he is aware that what I want, what I'm expecting, need not happen, and there is no undue anxiety about what it is going to be, how it is going to be. But at the same time, Lord Krishna says it is not possible for anybody, especially for a karma yogi who still has an attachment to the body. See, karma yogi is not a jnani. So the karma yogi still thinks that he is the body, mind, sense complex and does the karma. So too with all of us, ajnanis. Right now, where are we? We are located in the body in the form of I am the body, I am the mind, I am the sense complex. This body is the reality. Though it is an experiential reality, at present it is the absolute, really, it is the reality for me. Before I understand that, body is not the absolute reality. The Jagat is not the absolute reality. It is merely an experiential reality. Iti, this I come to know only later when I go to Jnana Yoga. So right now, as a Karma Yogi, even as an Ajnani, what is it? Nahi deha brata shakyam tyaktum karmani asheshataha. It is not possible to give up all the karmas asheshataha, especially deha brata, the one who is strongly identified with the body, the one who has a strong feeling that I am the body. Whatever the body does is real. A deha brata is the one who has a strong attachment, entanglement, and an idea that I am as good as the body. For such a person who is strongly identified with the body, it is impossible, okay, it is nahi shakyam tyaktum, to give up all the karmas asheshataha. What is the meaning of this? He says in the next verse, he explains that. See, Sarva-Karma-Sanyasa, giving up all actions, is really not possible unless you get this knowledge. It is only by understanding that I am the Akarta Abhokta Atma, which we have already seen in the second chapter, in the 13th chapter, in the 14th chapter, in the 15th chapter. Who am I? I am not the Karta body mind sense complex. I am not the Anatma body mind sense complex where the action is happening. But who am I? I am the Gunatita, Akarta, Abhokta Atma iti. Till this knowledge becomes established in me, as long as I have an attachment or as long as I have an identification with the body, it is not possible for me to give up all the actions asheshataha. So deha brata nahi shakyam tyaktum karmani asheshataha. So giving up all karmas is not possible. Even for a jnani, it is at the level of the body, mind, sense complex, all the actions are happening. But the jnani understands that gunaha guneshu vartante, indriyani indriyartheshu vartante, iti matva na sajjate. We have already seen that in the earlier chapters. This jnana yogi understands that it is not possible for the body and mind and sense complex to be without any action at every level, as long as the body is alive, as long as this karya karana sanghata is there, there is no possibility of no action in the body. Actionlessness totally in the body happens only when the body is dead. As long as the body is alive, it is not possible for the body and also the Sukshma Sharira not to have any actions. What is the meaning of Sarva Karma Sanyasa then? Understanding by Jnana Yoga that in spite of all the actions that are happening in the body, mind, sense complex, I am not the Karta, I am not the Bhokta, I am the Akarta Abhokta Atma. Iti, that understanding is Sarva Karma Sanyasa. But then at the level of the body, mind, sense complex, for a jnani also, for an ajnani also, or for a karma yogi also, it is not possible for the body, mind, sense complex to give up actions at all. If so, if the actions are happening at the level of the body, mind, sense complexes, what kind of phalas are possible for an ajnani? How he takes these phalas, and for a jnani, how does he look at the results of these actions? That is what is told in the 12th verse. In the 12th verse, what does Bhagavan say? Anishtam ishtam mishrancha trividham karmanah phalam bhavatyattyaginam pretya natu sannyasinam kvachit. So he says, attyaginam pretya. When this body dies, okay, then these adrishta phalas may appear. Drishta phalas also here in this life also. Whatever action we do, they appear in the form of phalas, which are drishta phalas, which are there for me to see earlier in this life only. Or they may be adrishta phalas, which may manifest themselves or which may fructify much later in this life, where I don't see any connection between the karma and the karma phala, or they may fructify much later after the death of this body in another life, in another embodiment. They may manifest themselves. So he says that for a atyagi, for a person who is not a jnani, for a person who is still a karma yogi or an ajnani, these results of the karmas, the karma phalas can be in three forms. What are the karma phalas? Anishta phalam, ishta phalam, and mishra phalam iti trividham karmanaha phalam. So all the phalas of all the karmas that I do, anybody does, will be in the form of these three. The karma phala is something which I like, which I want, which I have been looking for, and which I am happy about. That is, in this life itself, I have a conducive life. I don't have any problems to deal with. This could be the phalam that I get in this life, or it may be anishta phalam. In this life itself, I suffer all kinds of things, and I don't know why I am suffering that. I cannot accept that this is the adrishta phalam of what probably the karmas that I have done in some life before. I do not accept that. So ishta phalam is there, anishta phalam is there here in this life also, and after death also. I may go to higher lokas as a part of Ishtaphalam, or I may come back to the lower yonis or lower janmas because of my wrong karmas or because of my bad karmas or nishiddha karmas that I have done. Or the karmas may be in the form of Mishra, both Ishtam and Anishtam. Sometimes I'm happy because I have what I want, what I have expected. Sometimes I'm unhappy because what I want, what karma phala I want from my actions has not occurred at all. So the karma phala is of three types. That is Ishta phalam, Anishta phalam, and Mishra phalam. For whom? For whom are these? It is for a person who is a atyagi, a person who's expecting results depending upon what he does. Whereas a karma yogi is who? He is a karma phalatyagi. So it does not matter whether this karma yogi, whatever karma he does, whether the karma phala accrues to him in the form of ishtaphalam or anishtaphalam or mishtaphalam, either here, iha, in this life itself, or amutra, pretya, after death. It is for this sannyasi, it does not make any difference. So for whom does this matter? Atyaginam, those who are not karma phalatyagis, ishtam, anishtam, mishram cha trividam karmanaha phalam. So for a karma phala atyagi, the one who is not a sannyasi, the one who is not a karma yogi, for such a person, these karma phalas are in the form of ishtam, anishtam, and mishra phalas. Whereas Natu sannyasinam kvachita, but for a karma phalatyagi, who Krishna calls as a sattvika sannyasi. So in Krishna's words, here in this chapter, in wherever Lord Krishna talks about karma yoga, a sannyasi means a karma phalatyagi. A sannyasi means a sattvika sannyasi. A sannyasi means a karma yogi. So for a karma yogi, there is no question of ishtaphalam, anishtaphalam, or mishraphalam, because this karma phalatyagi or a sattvika sannyasi does not have any kind of an attachment or any kind of an anxiety about what kind of a karma phala I am going to have for my karma. So this is up till this verse. There is the summarizing of the Karma Yoga, which Bhagwan has talked about in the second chapter, in the third chapter, in a part of fourth chapter. Again, it will come in the 18th chapter. 3 or 4 times this summarization of the Karma Yoga will come. But from the 13th verse onwards till the 17th verse, Bhagwan now talks about Nyana Yoga. Now he summarizes the Nyana Yoga in the next 3 to 4 verses. Now, so in the 13th verse, before we go to the 13th verse, let me give you a brief introduction to what Bhagwan wants to talk about Jnana Yoga with respect to karma, with respect to this karma yogi. See, we have to understand that when I say I, all of us, every jiva, especially now we are talking about a human being, we are not talking about the animals. So every human jiva is a mixture of a Chetana Anatma, the body, mind, sense complex, and the Chetana Atma. And all the time, Bhagwan Krishna has been saying that all the action happens at the level of the Anatma, body, mind, sense complex. And it is an interaction. Every action which happens in this Anatma, body, mind, sense complex is nothing but an interaction between this Anatma, me, which is nothing but the body, mind, sense complex, the Achetana part of me, the Jada part of me, which at present is sentient because of this Atma, but actually the Achetana Anatma Tattva, which is the body, mind, sense complex me, interacting or transacting with the Anatma Jagat outside. This is my basic Laukika Vyavahara. Whereas I, the Atma, the Sakshi Chaitanya Atma, the Chetana Tattvam that is me, is not a doer. It is not an enjoyer. Then what is the function? It is not a function as such. What is it that this Chetana Tattva Atma is? What is it then? It is a mere Sakshi Chaitanya Atma. It merely witnesses all the actions that are happening at the level of the body, mind, sense complex. So, what Krishna wants to say is, what is this Jnana Yoga? Jnana Yoga is understanding that number one, I, the human jiva, is a combination of a Chetana, Anatma called body, mind, sense complex, and the Chetana Atma Tattvam. And where is any kind of an action happening, whether it is a bodily action or action at the level of the mind or the buddhi or the actions at the level of the sense complex, all the actions are happening in the anatma, body, mind, sense complex. Therefore, who is the doer of actions? The body, mind, sense complex. Who is the experiencer of the karma phala of all the karmas? It is nothing but the body, mind, sense complex. Then who am I? I am the Atma Tattva. This Atma Tattva, who is a mere witnessing consciousness and is not a karta or bhokta. Na hanyati hanyamane sharire. That's what he told in the second chapter. The 12th verse to the 25th verse of the second chapter, which talks about what? The nature of Atma. He clearly says the one who thinks that he is the killer and the one who thinks that he is the killed, both of them do not know, because all the actions, even the worst of the actions like killing or getting killed, because he's talking in the context of the war where killing and getting killed is going to happen. So any action is nothing but the action happening at the anatma, achetana anatma body mind sense complex. And what is this Jnana Yoga? What is this understanding? In Jnana Yoga, I understand that I am the Chetana Tattva Atma. My real Swarupam is I am this Chetana Tattva Atma. I am not the doer. I am not the enjoyer. I merely witness whatever karma is happening at the Achetana Anatma Tattvam called body mind sense complex, and I am a mere witness of whatever bhoktritvam is happening at the Achetana body mind sense complex. This is actually the Jnana Yoga, and this is what he's going to explain now in the 13th to the 17th verse. So let us see what the 13th verse says. पंचेतानि महाबाहो कारणानि निबोध मे सांख्ये कृतान्ते प्रोक्तानि सिद्धये सर्वकर्मणाम्. So hey Mahabaho Arjuna, now I am going to give you a summary of what Jnana Yoga is and what the Upanishads are talking about. Sankhye Kritante Proktani, second line. Sankhye Kritante Proktani. In the Upanishads, In the Vedanta, Kritante, at the end of the Karma Kanda of the Vedas, Krita Ante, when the Karma Kanda is over and the Nyana Kanda of the Veda begins, which is called as Upanishad, which is called as Vedanta, it is also called as Sankhya. In this Veda, in the Vedas, at the end of the Karma Kanda of the Vedas, in the Nyana Kandam or in the Upanishad part of the Vedas, whatever is talked about as the Swarupam of Atma, which we call as Dhyana Yoga, that I am going to talk about regarding all the karmas. What do the Upanishads talk about the karmas? Now he says, Panchetani, Panchemani, Pancha Imani, Panchemani Mahabaho, Pancha Imani Karanani Nibodha Me. From me, may you understand, Arjuna, Pancha Imani Karanani Sarva-Karmanam. For all the karmas, these are these five factors. These are the five loci. These are the five areas, the five karanas where the action is happening. See, this is absolutely the Panchakosha Viveka which Bhagwan is talking about. And many people, many scholars feel that Bhagavad Gita does not talk about Panchakosha Viveka. Bhagavad Gita does not talk about Avasthatraya Viveka. Yes, Avasthatraya Viveka is not specifically talked about. But in these three verses, the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th, we find that Bhagwan is talking about very briefly. Bhagwan is talking about the Panchakosha Viveka, whereas to where the actions are happening, at what level of the Anatma body mind sense complex are the karmas happening, it is that is what is going to be talked about now. So, hey Arjuna, Pancha Imani Karanani Sarva Karmanam Nibodhame. May you know, and what I am telling is not my own concoction, it is what is talked about in Vedanta. That is what we see even in Tattva Bodha. At what level actions are happening. And for this, Bhagwan divides the entire Anatma body mind sense complex into five levels: Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, and Vijnanamaya, and the Samashti, which is the real cause of all these four doing their action. We do not say Anandamaya because Anandamaya Atma comes only during sleep. Therefore, during the waking state, whenever a jiva does the karma, whenever a human being does the karma, whether he is a jnani, whether he is an ajnani, karma yogi, jnana yogi, whoever it may be, these are the four levels at which the karma is taking place, supported by the fifth level called as the Adhi Daivam. So let us see in the 14th verse what Bhagwan wants to say. He says, Adhishtanam tatha karta karanam cha pratak vidham vividhascha pratak cheshtha daivam chaivatra panchamam. So Pancha Imani. So these five levels of where the action is taking place in the Anatma body mind sense complex. He says Adhishtanam, the first. The first level of action is at the Adhishtanam, means Annamaya Kosha. If you have to know what is Annamaya Kosha, what is Pranamaya Kosha, what is Manomaya Kosha, what is Vijnanamaya Kosha, one has to go to care of Tattva Bodha. Annamaya Kosha means the food sheath or the gross physical body is called as the Annamaya Kosha. The Sukshma Sharira is divided into the prana, the activity, the physiological sheath which makes the whole body function called as Pranamaya Kosha. Then there is an emotional sheath, the Manomaya Kosha, which thinks about all the emotions which are there, Raga, Dveshadi. At the same time, doubts, Sankalpa, Vikalpatmakaha, Manaha. And then there is this Vijnanamaya Kosha or the Buddhi, which decides to do Adhyavasayatmika Buddhihi, Nishchayatmika Buddhihi, which decides what is to be done, what is not to be done. Therefore, Arjuna, Adhishtanam means the physical body. The Annamaya Kosha is one part where all the actions are done, available for everybody to see. So this is the adhishtanam. The sthula shariram becomes the adhishtanam of all the karma. Then we go to the second line, vividhascha prithak cheshtaha. Prithak cheshtaha means the pranamaya kosha. The various 5 types of pranas are there: prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana pranas, which are what? Various cheshtas, various physiological functions that are happening in the body. That is the second level at which all the activities are happening. Then come back to the first line again. Karanam. Karanam means what? The antakaranam or the mind. The mind is the third level where all the activities are happening. Last is karta, the vijnanamaya, the ahankara, which says I am the karta. I am doing everything. I am doing this action. I am going. I am coming. Going is happening at the level of the body mind sense complex. It is the buddhi which decides that the body has to go somewhere. The mind goes on with it, goes along with it, and the organs of the karma, that which are doing the karanas are the ones, or the karmendriyas are the ones which do the action. Therefore, for any action to happen, there is an adhishtanam which is called as the annamaya kosha, which is necessary. There is a pranamaya kosha which is necessary for the action to start happening, the physiological sheet. It is the mind which has to be made up, which will carry on all these activities, and ultimately the mind and the sense organs are driven by the vijnanamaya kosha, buddhihi, as karta. If I have that abhimana, that ahankara, that I am the doer, where is it coming from? It is coming from the karta, which is nothing but vijnanamaya kosha. These are and then last is Daivam. What is Daivam? All the devatas which are necessary for all these four to function. In Tattva Bodha only we have seen, isn't it? Who are the Adi Devatas? Who are that? What is that Adi Daivam? Because of which the hand functions, which is the devata because of which the leg moves, which is the devata because of which the prana is going on, which is the devata because of which the eye is able to see, which is the devata because of which the ear is able to listen. All these are given in Tattva Bodha. So the body and the prana, the mind along with the sense complexes, and the buddhi, the karta, along with all the devatas that stimulate this particular four levels of anatma to act. Hey Arjuna, these are the 5 karanas for any action to take place. Annamaya called adhishtana, prithak cheshta called pranamaya, karanam which is the mind antakaranam, and karta the vijnanamaya, and daivam all the adhidevatas, the devatas which are promoting or propelling the body to do its action. These are the 5 levels at which all the actions are taking place. And at what level are the actions taking place? In the next 15th verse, he says, Sharira Vang Mano Bhiryat Karma Prarabhate Naraha Nyayam Va Viparitam Va Panchaite Tasya Hetavaha. So, how do these 4 levels, the karanas, where the actual karma has originated, how does it manifest itself? How does every karma manifest? At 3 levels, at 3 points it manifests: kaika karma, vachika karma, and also the manasa karma. Thinking is a karma, knowing is a karma, speaking is a karma. This activity, whatever is done by hands and legs and the rest of the body is karma. Therefore, these 5 levels where the karma is the karanam, they manifest in the form of what? Sharira, Vang, Manobihi, Yat Karma Prarabhate Naraha. So the Naraha, or the human being, taking these 5 levels of action, manifests all the karmas, all the actions through 3 manifestations: Sharira, bodily actions; Vang, the actions at the level of the speech, and also manaha, the mental actions. And what kind of an actions are these? Nyayam va viparitam va. There may be dharmic actions, there may be adharmic actions. There may be laukika actions, there may be vaidika actions. They may be the actions of yajna, dana, tapas, or they may be actions of himsa or whatever it is. Whatever may be the action, the five are the causes of action: adhishtana, prithak cheshta, karana, karta, and daivam are the karanam, and all these three manifest as actions at the 3 points in the body in the form of sharira karma, vak karma, and manasa karma. Now, then what is the difference between an ajnani and a jnani? That is told in the 16th verse and the 17th verse. So in the 16th verse he says, Tatraivam sati kartaram Atmanam kevalam tu yaha pashyat akrita buddhitvat nasha pashyati durmatihi. Who's a durmati? A person who is an ajnani. And what does he do? Akrita buddhitvat, because of an unprepared mind. Because the person is not prepared yet to understand where is the level of action, what are the karanas of this action. Akrita buddhitvat, a buddhi which is not yet prepared for this jnana yoga. A buddhi, a person who has not done enough of karma yoga and done enough of chitta shuddhi, such an ajnani, durmatihi, what does he see? Sapashati, what does he see? Even though the actions are not done at the level of the Atma, even though all the actions originate from these five places, that is what? The body, the adhishtanam, the pranamaya, and the manomaya, vijnanamaya, along with the adhi devatas, he does not see that. He sees these actions as my actions. I am doing the actions. Why? Because I am the body, I am the prana, I am the mind, I am the sense complex at present. Therefore, all these things that are happening, all the karmas that are happening, a durmatihi, an ajnani, who's akrita buddhihi, the person who is not prepared, whose intellect is not well prepared to see the Atma as a karta, what do? They see themselves as kartas. And when I see myself as karta, I become the bhokta also. I am the doer, I am the experiencer. And what is my samsara? Kartritvam, bhoktritvam itself is samsara. Correct? There is no other samsara. I am the doer, iti samsara. I am the experience, iti samsara. Therefore, as a doer, what is there? Oh, yo, why did I do this? I did not do this properly. Kimaham papam akaravam. Kimaham sadhuna akaravam. That's what Taittiriya Upanishad says. As a doer, I take myself, the Atma, to be the doer, though I am not the doer. Though it is the anatma, achetana anatma, which is the doer, an unprepared intellect who's an ajnani take himself to be the doer, and there is associated guilt and regret about what is done, anxiety about what is to be done, and again guilt and regret about what is experienced as bhoga. Bhoga means what? Experiencing bhoktritvam, or again a lot of anxiety about what is to come, what karma phala will come, how will it come. So this akrita buddhihi, unprepared intellect, and durmatihi, a ajnani, always considers himself to be the karta and suffers the consequences of kartritvam and bhoktritvam. And the consequences of kartritvam and bhoktritvam is nothing but the samsara itself. In contrast, now in the 17th verse, which is the end of the summarization of Jnana Yoga, what does Bhagavan Krishna say? Yasya nahankrito bhavaha buddhiryasya na lipyate hatvapi sa iman lokan nahanti na nibadhyate. But a jnani, a person who is a krita buddhihi, the person who is well prepared for this particular knowledge, a person who understands that I, the Chetana Atma, is not the doer. I am a mixture of Achetana Anatma Tattva called body, mind, sense complex, and all the actions are happening there. Be it an action like killing in the war or getting killed in the war, or any kind of a laukika karma as my any interaction with the jagat, or Vaidika karma like puja or yajna or dana or tapas, whatever may be the action, dharmik va adharmikam va, nyayam va otherwise, whatever action is happening at the anatma body mind sense complex, achetana body mind sense complex. I have nothing to do with it. Gunaha guneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. I have nothing to do with it. Why? Because I am not the body mind sense complex. I am this chaitanya swarupi कूटस्थ साक्षी चैतन्य नित्य शुद्ध बुद्ध मुक्त atma aham asmi. This is the jnana yoga, and the person who sees that, how does he see that? Na ahankrita bhavaha. There is no ahankara, no identification with the karma that is done at the level of the body mind sense complex. He very clearly sees that I am not the doer. It is the achetana body mind sense complex which is the doer. I am not the doer. It is very clearly he sees. And when this knowledge is very clear, na lipyate, the karmas that are done by the body mind sense complex do not affect him. Why? I am the asanga atma. The atma is I, this consciousness is asanga. There is no lepa. There's no question of getting affected by what the anatma does. This anatma body mind sense complex is a mere experiential reality. What is the absolute reality? What is the ultimate truth? Aham Nitya Shuddha Asanga Atma Asmi iti. This is the ultimate truth. This is the Paramarthika Satyam. This is the ultimate reality. Therefore, a Jnana Yogi does not get affected by whatever action happens at the level of body, mind, sense complex, and whatever experiencing happens at the level of the body, mind, sense complex. Therefore, this Jnani who has prepared his intellect sufficiently enough by Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga, and the one who has come to the Jnana Yoga and has understood what is told in the Shruti, that you are not the body, mind, sense complex. You are this Asanga Atma, which Bhagavan Krishna himself has told in the second chapter, in the fifth chapter, and in the ninth chapter, in the 15th chapter, 13th chapter. So, what is this actually? Asangatvam. Doing everything at the same time, whatever has been done is not really affecting me. I am not affected by this. This understanding is what is called as Atmajnanam. And such a person is free. And this is what Bhagwan explained in the later chapters, in the 13th chapter also, 15th chapter also. And this is a summarization of Jnana Yoga. So from the first verse, which is Arjuna's question, after giving the impressions of other people in the second and third verse, from the fourth verse up till the 12th verse, Bhagwan talked about a karma yogi as a karma phalatyagi. A summary of karma yoga was given, where a karma yogi was described as a karma phala tyagi or a sattvika sannyasi. And ultimately, what is the phalam of this karma yoga? Having followed this karma yoga for a sufficient length of time and exposing oneself to this atma jnanam, ultimately, what is the phala? I am neither the doer nor the enjoyer. I am that nitya shuddha asanga atma who is a mere witness. This is the understanding which is nothing but moksha. Moksha is not something to be got, something to be reached. Moksha is this mere understanding itself. And up till the 17th verse, Bhagwan summarized Jnana Yoga. Now from the 18th chapter up 18th verse up till the 40th or 41st verse, again Bhagwan is going to summarize the Karma Yoga and the Jnana Yoga from a different context. The very 18th chapter is nothing but this. Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga are again and again and again summarized in different ways so that who understands? Arjuna ultimately understands that yes, I have to be a Karma Yogi to understand this. To be a Jnana Yogi, I should prepare myself with Karma Yoga, go to Jnana Yoga, understand this, I am the Asanga Atma, and then get free from this samsara. So we'll go to the 18th verse, which is a little change in the way the topic is put forward from the next session. ॐ नन्दन्तु साधका सर्वे विनश्यन्तु विदूषकाः अवस्थाशाम्भवी मेस्तु प्रसन्नोऽस्तु गुरुः सदा सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखमाप्नुयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय